What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. I've been stalking some more rioters and they've been saying some interesting stuff recently, so I thought I'd share and we get an idea of what's going to happen in the game in the future. I'll include a couple of timestamps down below, but we're looking at REK'SAI, other gameplay updates or reworks hinted at, including Irelia, and changes to champions like Ryze, Tristana, Camille, and even Cho'Gath. This video isn't going to be that long though. Honestly, just want to keep it short and to the point. So about Azir very quickly, his mini rework and stuff, that is still going to happen, by the way. There's a few more before that, and REK'SAI actually is supposed to be next. She's not finished, but they're looking pretty good at the moment. This is the first time we've ever heard of a REK'SAI mini rework really, and the focus is more shifting towards an AD diver rather than a tank. So an AD champion who dives in but builds AD and does damage. They really want her to be a carry jungler who builds AD, does damage, and is a threat rather than just kind of a tank who goes in and knocks everybody up. To do this, obviously the W has to change really. They're still testing it, but it's likely going to be a single target knock up. It's not going to be AoE anymore like it is. They've also been testing some other stuff alongside it, so a brief displacement to those around, so kind of like Draven E. This means the one in the middle you actually target would be the one knocked up, but everyone around them would just get a slight displacement, kind of knocking them to the side. The other thing would be damage on all of them still, even though only one of them is going to get knocked up, and the increased Q damage as well, which will most likely be a higher AD ratio. So that is what it's going to look like. Her W is probably going to be single target. Her Q is going to do more damage, especially if you build AD, and it's kind of a bit surprising really. Her Q already does a lot of damage, though it does kind of fall off actually, which is what I'm guessing they're aiming this at. Temu is a beast item on her. It makes her clear really good. It also makes her damage insane. Black Cleaver would also be pretty good as well, surely. Another thing to remember is Fervor is actually really good on REK'SAI. People don't play it because Courage is so good on her, but Fervor does so much damage, it is insane. You only need 4 attacks to stack it fully. You have an auto attack reset to get there quicker as well, so you can stack it really fast. I think Fervor with an AD build would actually be broken, to be honest. Remember, the Fervor will be buffing the new Q as well with a higher AD ratio, so it would do even more damage. That's just my perspective on it, but this mini rework seems really weird. I get it, but she has a lot of mobility and a gank pressure, plus loads of damage now. Maybe you think something different to me though, let me know in the comments, but her clear speed should really still be good, and she's a really good farmer later, so she has this gold like generation, which is really good. Good scaling with a better AD ratio, so also a late game threat more probably. Plus, I mean, like Titanic Hydra and Black Cleaver would be so disgusting on her. With Fervor, it would be even better than it is now. Anyway, so what about the other reworks they actually mentioned? So the first one is we know definitely that Jax is not getting a rework, or it's not planned at the moment, but Irelia, Sol, Kalista, Aatrox, and Azir are in line for some sort of mini rework according to Medler. Irelia Sol is a bit of a surprise considering how new he is. Like, remember, these are changing a few skills only to rebalance them and make them do what they're supposed to do, what they were originally designed to do, I guess. Shyvana, Alistar, Leona, and Sona are examples of some recent ones, so it's like the same idea. It's very similar as the champion, but they're better at specific things, and it's easier for Riot to balance them. Now, Warwick, Galio, Evelynn are proper updates, and maybe Irelia. So we already know that Warwick just got a massive update. Galio is in line for one, and so is Evelynn actually as well, but maybe Irelia too. These are going to be proper updates, like full champion updates. The Irelia mini rework update is something that actually is surprising. I didn't expect it. It's weird from his wording to know exactly what he wants to do with Irelia, but afterwards he actually talks about those needing big ones coming first, so Warwick and Galio, and he gives previous examples of Yorick, Sion, Poppy, and Taric. So what I'm getting from this, if he's grouping those all together, is Irelia is getting an update eventually on the scale of those, a proper champion update and a full rework. She's going to do the same kind of thing, but most likely her abilities will be changed and redesigned in some way or another. It's sad that we don't have more information on Irelia or Evelynn, but at least we know that those two are being looked at for something like that, something bigger. Now next we're going to talk about some changes. These aren't reworks, they're just balance changes, but these are ones that aren't on the PB patch or anything like that. These are being discussed internally at Riot. The first one is for Ryze. They're testing changing his W to a missile rather than instant on cast. It's still going to be point and click. It's not a skill shot. That's not what I mean by missile, but it means it has a slight delay, so you can actually flash or dash to move before it roots you. It kind of has to travel between Ryze and the enemy champion you click on, and they're also noting they don't want to rework him again. He's probably the most reworked champion in the game, I think, at least recently anyway, but they don't want to update him again. They want to change how some of his mechanics work, but there's no idea really when that's going to be. Now Tristana is another one actually who's probably in line for a gameplay update or a mini rework. She's either underwhelming or pick or ban. There's no real in between, which is why we don't see many Trist buffs or focus on her. Now there are some buffs mentioned on the boards actually. The buffs are attack speed per level and her Q cooldown, but she doesn't really have a clear reason to be picked at the moment, and that is the problem. That is obviously just talking about the buffs, but Medler said that they don't want to buff her too much until they get a chance to really look at her and work out what they want her to do. They're looking at adding some sort of utility to her kit as well, but they need need to figure out what they want her to do in the game first. Like, what is her real job? What is she good at? There are 4 main areas that they like about Tristana that are good about her, that are kind of her identity: early tower pushing, resets, a hyper carry, and a diving AD carry who can jump in and be rewarded. The issue is finding a balance between all of them, and what do they make her really good at, and what do they kind of like nerf about her. Tristana as a champion is a bit of a problem, let's be honest. Like, she's always really good or she's really bad. Like, right now she's a worse version of Caitlyn, Jinx, and Twitch, and that's why we don't see her played as much. She is also a massive hyper carry, like big time, with so many parts of her kit being really good late game, but she's not as good early. Actually, it's really about the mid game. That's the problem. You can do literally nothing in a game, especially in the mid game, if you don't get ahead or you get behind a bit. Basically, because she has very little utility in her kit except for tower taking, there's nothing really to fall back on. There are 2 more champion balance things, and the first one is for Camille. Her E is going to be nerfed to only give attack speed if she hits an enemy champion. The passive shield will be lower. They'll have an increased W and E mana cost, and also the W slow will be decaying now rather than just a flat amount, but they're probably going to pick and choose between those options, not all of them. Her Q and R are also being looked at, but they're harder to nerf. They are basically what she's good at, why you pick her identity as a champion, right? They are really strong, but they're supposed to be strong, and nerfing them would kind of take away what makes you pick her in the first place. So they'd rather target her utility areas, basically. Right now, she is 100% pick or ban though, let's be honest, right? Stupid mobility combined with stupid damage. She is like everything a bruiser dreams of being, and I have no idea what Riot were thinking, to be honest, or how she made it through internal balance testing. I know they love releasing a slightly overpowered champion so everybody buys them in their skin bundle. That makes sense from a money standpoint, right? But nobody can play her at the moment anyway. She's banned in like every single game. Now, the last one actually is a bit of a weird one. We don't have much information on this, but I thought it was kind of cool actually, so I did want to mention it anyway. Cho'Gath has some weird experimental changes lined up for 7.3, maybe, but they're being tested internally. Now, this is so experimental, apparently, they might not even appear. We might never find out what they actually are. I wonder what they're going to do to him that is so different. He's not classing this as a mini rework. This is just a buff. So I'm not sure how they could change him without it classing as a rework, where it'd be classed as so experimental we might never hear about it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want me to do more stalking. Like the video if you do. Thank you for watching. But for now, let's go to the robots.